can't believe how happy I am right now. It's been such a strange day. There were some very scary things happening, and I was worried the dream was coming true, with the blue flames and all the people dead. I was worried the villagers were coming to get us and steal all our food and things. But now Siegfrieda and her friends have come and they've saved the day. Now everything is going to be okay. Better even, I'm going to go to a ball and maybe even get married. And then we can have people over, and Mother and Father can talk to people again, and then we'll cure all the villagers, and everyone will be happy. I can't remember ever being so happy. All thanks to you, Siegfrieda, my best friend. This is Red Moon Role-Playing. Our brave heroes rush into the next room, seeming to have, for now, avoided the strange baronet and her seeming army of mutated cats. They find themselves in another room. One exit is obvious, 2 double doors that you're all really hoping lead to this large observatory tower. But as you're moving through the room quickly, Kruger, you do take a moment to look around. It seems you're in another bedroom. There's a large double-poster bed on one side. There are shelves of books, lots and lots of books. And then there's a mirror, a dresser, and granted, maybe you're not feeling in the mood for rummaging through drawers at a time like this, but something does draw your attention. There is a table with a lit candlestick, and on the table is a very odd-looking package. It's odd because it looks surprisingly pleasant and completely out of place in a horrible castle such as this. It's like a box with a little bow, blue ribbon bow, and next to it is a letter. You are, of course, in a rush, but this does just catch your attention. What do you do as you move quickly through this bedroom?
Well, does stand out from everything else. I suppose I could have a quick look. I mean, it does definitely pique my curiosity.
So you go over to the table and pick up the letter. Again, it seems like a nice handwritten letter, but you can't obviously understand what it says. But the box itself, you take a little peek inside, and there's a very nice porcelain doll. Huh. You, for a moment, expect it to look slightly creepy, but to be fair, it actually looks surprisingly mundane.
I don't know why, but there's just something about it that makes me pick it up. Is it small enough that I could fit it in my pack?
Certainly. It's a nice little doll in a nice dress, the style similar to current Reikland fashion. Looks almost like a child's toy, but quite an expensive one.
I'll take that and I'll take the letter as well. We'll have time to look at it later. Maybe Siegfrieda will be able to make sense of all of this. Maybe it will help tell us a little bit about what was happening here.
Indeed. It also looks very fresh. There's not a lot of dust on it. Like it's something quite new.
As we are moving through the bedroom, I'll just hand it directly over to Siegfrieda. I just found this line here. I don't know if it means anything.
I'll give it a quick scan. Is there any language I recognise?
It certainly is. It's written in standard Reichspiel. Not too long, either.
I unfurl the letter, looking to my companions. It reads as follows. Dearest sister, I apologise for taking so long to write. The years have just flown by here in Middenheim. Everything is so much more exciting, so much more alive. I have rapidly made many new friends already. I even have a respectable job. Who would have known doing simple math could lead to such lofty positions? You simply must come and visit. You would love it here. People are much more willing to listen and experiment here, especially as the Sigmarites have far less control here than anywhere else. Getting this package to you has been tricky. Some nonsense about a plague. How could a small village plague affect getting a package to you? Still, it sounds like as normal Wittgendorf is suffering. It is time you left that place, sister. Let brother and the others handle the rotting mess of our home. There is nothing there any more, sister, and you know it. The curse will likely doom our family before long, but it does not have to take you and I with it. So come to Middenheim. If you come soon, you'll be just in time for the yearly carnival. This year promises to be a good one. Your sister. Well, I say, rolling it up again. Someone clearly has a sense of proportion. And this begs even more questions, doesn't it? Someone was able to get a message here. Or, well, they may have had a bird carry it. But someone was able to get a message here, and recently. One of our hosts, the sister in question, has been invited to leave, and it's an invitation I would take if she had any sense. And we know that there are even more damned Wittgensteins in Middenheim, there for the carnival. Or at least one. I shake my head. I pinch the bridge of my nose. This family. Referring to a village plague as if it could be any kind of prohibition. This is either someone who is completely ignorant to what is afflicting these people, or knows about it and just doesn't care because she travels in more rarefied air than the common folk down on the ground.
It does sound like... I suppose that's what can happen when you live apart from the people in your fancy castle, just looking down on everyone.
A fancy castle full of fancy people and their fancy madness. Suppose it doesn't matter whether they know or whether they don't. So long as the filth continues to spread, it's dangerous.
You'd all know one thing. Middenheim is very, very far away from here.
I tap the letter. As interesting as it is, this doesn't compel me to travel to Middenheim. We obviously need to clean this place up first, but I'm unwilling to get caught in some kind of hunt for every last Wittgenstein.
Besides, Kruger, you find yourself thinking you have a far bigger reason to go to Middenheim.
Yes. I do have things to do there, don't I?
Far more important, perhaps, than just some random noble. Perhaps.
Perhaps. But it is worrying, at least, that they are spread out. Whatever the fallout will be of what has happened here and whatever ends up happening to these family members in the town, well, let's just hope that no one wants to take revenge on those responsible. Well, we'd better keep moving, I say to Heinrich and to Siegfrieda.
No doubt there are secrets aplenty to unearth in this place.
What do you suppose they worship in Middenheim, if the Sigmarites have got less control there?
You would know that, Kruger, as you were there yourself. Granted long ago, the answer is Ulrich, god of war.
Well, they do have a soft spot for the god of war, for Ulrich. I suppose that's what's being referred to here, unless there have been new developments since I was there, which is, well, not completely out of the question.
I do worry we look in every corner and see chaos, whether it's present or not, but at this time I'm beginning to have more certainty in my pessimism than any kind of hope for these people. But anyway, let's not get distracted. We have a task to accomplish, and let's not forget this Herzen woman can't be far behind.
You know, I'd almost forgotten about her.
I still have a knife quite ready for her.
I'll be ready.
Well, while we ready, what's the next step for us here? We still haven't entirely unraveled the mystery of what's going on in this castle or the village below, save for pause, swallowing a bit as the chittering sound the bones made come back to my brain. A gentleman in what I assume is the late stage transition of whatever affliction carries through this place.
What do the three of you do? 2 double doors await you. They are the only exit to this room, unless, of course, you wish to go back.
There's no turning back now.
No. Let's sally forth.
Sally forth you do. Who goes first?
Not me.
No, this is a Heinrich job. We've divvied it up that Heinrich does the door kicking and Kruger does the sneaking, and then if someone bleeds, Siegfried handles it. We have a very smoothly optimized operation here.
You do indeed. And so you move forwards, kicking down the door, and head into the hallway. Not a long hallway. You find yourself in a very bizarre-looking chamber. It's circular in nature, so you believe yourself to indeed be in some sort of tower. It is filled with odd things, shelves upon shelves of books again, but this time also tables full of strange things. You recognize them immediately, Siegfrieda. They are very similar to what you saw in the tower before. But unlike that tower, everything was abandoned and covered in dust. Here, things are very much in use, filled with strange chemicals and liquids bubbling over fires. There is a wall with charts of the human body. You recognize that, of course, as well, Siegfrieda, showing various parts of the human anatomy, but also other species' anatomies as well. You look around this room and see there seems to be a large stone staircase kind of ascending on the left in a circular fashion going upwards, and as you look upwards you see there is more of this chamber. It's like you can see the second floor, but there's a big massive hole in it. A sort of balcony-like structure, you think to yourself. You also look to your right, Krug, and see another staircase, but this one seems to spiral downwards. Possibly down below the castle? You hope so. As you look up, Heinrich, the room continues, but obviously now you can't see much, but you do see something quite eye-catching. There are several what can best be described as wires, copper cables. You think you've seen some sort of stuff like this before on, like, bridges, but here it's unusual. Why is it all just randomly in different locations? There's also strange bubbling devices and large glass beakers full of some sort of liquid. You also keep looking up and see very far above you the top of the tower. It seems to be made of glass, and it's slightly open. The storm outside beginning to rage, the lightning beginning to light the sky, and there's a whole bunch of ropes and pulleys around some sort of raised platform. This platform is very high up, quite close to the summit of the tower, and that's all you see as you enter. What do you do, Heinrich?
I have absolutely no idea what any of this is. I suppose there's a moment of awe, just staring up what I assume is insidious because of the owners of this building, but it's also just, I suppose it'd be the same sense if I walked into one of the great foundries of Nuln. So much here that of course has purpose, but exists beyond my skills. I guess whistle a little low at it, impressed, if not a bit horrified. And then, as in all things that are too complicated for me to understand, I cast an eye towards Siegfrieda. If anyone's heard of it, it would be her. And if she hasn't heard of it, that's all the more reason for us to think that it is of sinister purpose.
Well, what are you thinking, Siegfrieda? You obviously recognize a lot of this, but some of this, even by your standards, is extraordinary.
There's a lot of experimental science taking place here. Some of the medical variety, but more, I imagine, of a sorcerous kind. Again, maybe that's the paranoia speaking. I'm looking at the charts on the walls, the anatomical ones. Does it bear out with the range of humans that seem to be mutating into bugs, insectoid life forms? Are we seeing lots of, analyses of not just human anatomy, but basically small arthropods and such?
None at all. This looks genuinely legitimate. Like, these are actual human bodies, and this person's studying them.
Well, there is, if not an expert, there's an enthusiast here. I assume it's the lady I was speaking to over dinner. We should tread carefully, though. Does it appear that there's been any kind of fracas, any kind of fight in this room, or does it seem, organised, essentially?
No, it seems very organised.
even sterile, or not quite that clean?
Not quite that clean, no. There is a little bit of grime in here, but the amount of labs you've seen properly sterilized in your lifetime is very, very few.
I know it's a rarity. I just wondered how seriously they took it. I'm going to resist the urge to pick up texts and start slipping them into my bag. I realise that's not why we're here. But at a cursory glance looking around, can I see what the scientist in residence has been trying to, I guess, determine? If it's what she said to me earlier, they're looking for a cure or a preventative for what's been afflicting the people, and specifically this Wittgenstein family, but is there anything beyond that I can glean from what's on show?
Not just from what's on show. You maybe take a step forward. You could start looking things over quite carefully, and maybe you'd be able to work it out, but you definitely get the feeling of medicine. This is medical apparatus, this is medical equipment, this is medical study, and even some of the books on the shelves you recognize. And of course, it's at that moment when a voice slowly calls out from above. Again, that floor above you. Ah, here you are, Siegfried, with your friends. I was wondering when you'd come. You look up, Heinrich, and you can see, above you, quite hard to see, someone is there, although they are keeping a bit of a distance.
Does the voice ring familiar to me at all?
You think you remember the woman from the village, but you're not quite sure. You, of course, Siegfried, recognize it very well.
My lady, I shout up with not a little bit of reluctance. You are aware of what's going on outside your castle. If we're to protect you, you have to come down and help us.
Who am I going to be protected from, Siegfried? You. I'm not a fool, you know. It was all true, wasn't it? Everything that horrid little man, Doppler, said. She's an agent of doom. She's working with criminals. I told him he was an utter moron. But he was right, wasn't he? You really were a spy, come to bring ruin to my home.
Sometimes more than one person can be right, my lady. He was an utter moron. But I wouldn't call myself a spy. I was merely here to, well, prevent any unnecessary death. Unfortunately, that hasn't quite worked out, given we have seen some of what's on show within your castle. Rather than shouting up to you, why don't you come down here, and you have my word that we will not accost you. And in fact, if you come willingly, we will not allow anyone else to do so either.
You see some movement as the figure up above kind of moves around, and they head to something, some sort of contraption. You can see, Heinrich, there's a bunch of levers on whatever this thing is. Siegfried, that would be lovely. But sorry. No, you want me to come down so you can shoot me or drag me into a village square and set me on fire. And you won't! You won't! Not now! Not when it's nearly done! No! I wanted you to come and see! I wanted a proper doctor's opinion! But no! No, I understand. I need to show you.
I will shout at Kruger and Heinrich. Shoot her! Take her down!
What do you do, Heinrich? Not an easy shot. Quite a difficult one, actually. Maybe if you get to that staircase, but that's obviously going to take time.
I'm a simple man. I follow instructions, especially considering Siegfried only rarely speaks with such urgency. It is obviously something that is important. So I'll take the hard shot for now, and then hopefully be able to reload on my way to a more advantageous firing position.
Indeed. Take aim and fire at a -20. Sorry, no, -30.
I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I did not make that dice roll with a 79.
You aim and you fire. Your gun goes off and hits railing, sparks fly, but this figure just manages to duck out of the way. There is a bit of movement, and you do notice something happens, Kruger. Does something fall down? You hear a clattering sound, and it seems something has just suddenly fallen from above you and landed on the ground, something quite small. How do you respond to that, Kruger? It's all happening very quickly.
I'll try and see what it is, and if it is something that perhaps could be threatening to us.
You don't think so. You dive forwards, perhaps even getting your crossbow ready, and see it seems to be a set of keys. She's dropped some keys. Heinrich, you look up, readying your next shot. But then something happens. You hear the woman above simply scream out, "I will not fall to barbarians! You will not stop science!" And a lever is pulled. A great loud boom sound echoes through this chamber. All three of you look up to see that something is happening above you. It seems like there's some large metal device that's suddenly been pushed into the sky, or it's already on the top of the tower, and it lights up with lightning. Lightning from above suddenly channels into whatever this thing is at the top of the tower and strikes the raised platform. The machines of the room begin to buzz and make loud sounds. There is a great deal of bubbling and noise. And suddenly, it's quiet again, and the podium begins to lower. Lower downwards, descending quite rapidly. You hear a voice say, "You see, Siegfrieda? You see? You can't deny it! I've done it! I've done it!" How do you respond to this, Heinrich? Something is being lowered down into the room you're in quite rapidly.
You mentioned before that there are pulleys and ropes and such all over this room. Is there anything near me that looks like I could cut through a rope and cause some problem for whatever this is?
Certainly. Very near to the left of you. But again, you have to be quick. Everything is happening very quickly now, you realize.
And that is the nature of quick decision-making. I don't know if this is going to help, but if I can disrupt this, then hooray. And if not, then we'll deal with that next turn. So yes, I'll lunge towards the nearest pulley or wheel or whatever it happens to be and attempt to break this thing, or part of it.
I don't think you need to make a roll. You just wildly swing or whatever you can, and you cut some ropes, and something begins to splutter and move around quite violently. And what are the other two doing? Siegfrieda, again, this is all happening very quickly. You see Heinrich going to cut something, you see Kruger grabbing something off the ground, and something is rapidly descending into the chamber you're in.
This Wittgenstein is the source of all this. I am going to try and get to the stairs and make my way up them. I have no doubt that whatever descends, Heinrich and Kruger will be able to deal with. I don't rate this woman's strength. I don't think she's some kind of sorcerer or cultist. Ultimately, if it comes down to it and all I have to do is push her off the balcony to stop this madness, then that's what I will do.
Very risky, Siegfrieda, but you separate yourself from the group and begin heading up the stairs. Kruger, what about you? You have some keys in your hand. You see Siegfrieda suddenly, quite daringly, darting off, separating herself away from you two. And then, of course, you, again, find your eyes drawn to that bottom stairway.
I can't let Siegfrieda go off completely by herself. I'll follow after her, ready to back her up if need be.
Heinrich, you see whatever's coming down suddenly rapidly descend very awkwardly. The stone platform does indeed tilt, and something falls to the ground, for a moment shaking the room. You look behind you and see your friends bravely running away, upwards, seeming to leave this to you, as something begins to stand up. It seems to be something 6-7 foot tall. It stands up very awkwardly. It seems like it was covered in a sheet of some kind, and as it does, one of its legs kind of then cracks and buckles, very awkwardly sounding. Siegfrieda, you begin making your way up the stairs. There's quite a bit of distance between you. You see Lady Marguerite, her cloak down now, her hair black and flowing in the wind, looking drained, taking a step back and raising a pistol. "You're too late, Siegfrieda. I have created life, and I will save everyone. Even you.
I could engage Marguerite in conversation. Am I on her level at this point?
You're on the level, but there is some distance between you, and also as you look down, you notice something very big and bad is now suddenly right very close to your friend Heinrich, and you've never seen anything like it.
I stare for maybe a moment too long at what's down there. I clench my jaw. I know that there is nothing I can do down there to help. If there's some kind of beast, that is not where my skills lie. I can tackle an unarmed, hysterical aristocrat, however. And I will walk toward her at first. Please then, show me what it is that needs healing about me. Because the way I see it, Marguerite, your family is deformed and demented. And that illness has not just crept, it has overwhelmed the people who are beholden to you, who, for some reason, you have been given the right to rule. And your attempts to work on a cure, and as with every word, I am stepping forward. I'm trying to get closer and closer to her. I'm not trying to appear threatening. I'm trying to appear curious, if a bit angered. So, basically, how I am. What could you do to stop this?
Create life. Not by necromancy, not by chaos, but with science! Heinrich, what do? This thing is starting to reveal itself. A 7-foot-tall humanoid. One of its legs seems very badly damaged, but it's still standing, and this sheet is beginning to fall. You hear your friend doing a big distraction up above you, but what do?
Absolutely nothing good in the history of the Reik has ever started with lightning bolts striking some bizarre machine and animating a creature. Have I had a chance to reload my pistol yet?
Certainly.
So then, that leg limping, I don't know how the creature works, but let's apply some basic human rules to it, right? We'll see if that works out in the long term, but for now, that's all I can think of. I would like to, charging forward, obviously, man of bravery as I am, fire off a shot, and then be ready to fight this thing with a sword blessed by Sigmar in my hand.
Then you charge forwards. Are you planning to use your dual-wielding skills here?
Is the creature close enough?
It will be if you charge straight into it.
Then, yeah.
Then, what's your first attack? Your gun or the blade?
Let's go with the gun first. The way that this skill works is I only roll the die once, and then flip the results for the second, but the second gets a -20 penalty. So, more important, I think, for me to get the shot off than to land the second blow. Okay, so I've rolled a 49, which means that the sword is not going to work at all with 94, but the 49 is enough for 1 success level on the pistol shot.
So you hit with the pistol, doing how much damage?
9 total.
Heinrich, you charge to this fell being, which can surely only be an enemy of chaos. You fire your gun and hit it, and it barely reacts, and then you kind of go to stab it with your sword, and instead find a gigantic fist colliding with your face as you are lifted off the ground and thrown back all the way to that staircase leading downwards. Now, keep in mind that you can use fate here. You're about to take 17 damage.
That would be far too much damage for Heinrich to take. That would be in excess of all the damage Heinrich is allowed to take.
It certainly would, but of course, if you burn a point of fate, you'll take no damage.
I feel like I have to. I was sent here for a reason. I was given this sword for a reason. And even absent the grandeur of the gods reaching down to imbue me with this duty and this power, if it can best me, it will shred through my friends. I might yet meet my end in this fight, but if it gives Siegfrieda the time that she needs to deal with this crazed woman, if it lets Kruger get a shot off that's important, then that is my role. So yes, I'll spend that point of fate to avoid being crushed by this monstrous fist.
Then tell us how, even though you are thrown asunder, you do not actually take as much damage as you perhaps thought you would.
It is an old trick that you learn when you're trying to become a duelist in the reedy, knotted marshland of the Riverlands. There's always a sense of where your footing is going to be, things that you can grab to catch balance, to use the fluidity of moving around in an environment that's full of things to snag on. So being thrown back, that by itself is a challenge, but there are ropes yet all around the place. There's furniture and such. So as Heinrich goes sailing backwards through the air, you would see him reaching out, scrambling to grab one of those large ropes, and it's, God, the way the skin, the friction underneath it is going to be a problem for a later day. But sliding on that to arrest a bit of my momentum, that way, when I collide with the railing of the stairs, it's less like being thrown up against a wall and more controlled, so that I can roll over it and likely not find my footing, but at least end up on all fours, sword clattering near enough that I can grab it, but otherwise avoiding that crushing impact.
Indeed, and yet, that was close, Heinrich. You begin to feel something in your gut. Fear. Could you please roll a coolness roll here, a willpower roll?
This didn't work out well for me the last time we were facing something this evil. Oh, but today is another day. It's meets it, beats it on Warhammer?
How many levels of success?
0. I rolled 35 out of 35.
That is not enough. You begin thinking of your own mortality, Heinrich. That was too close. This thing doesn't even seem fazed by what you did to it, and you begin to feel just very slowly your feet on their own accord seeming to make you take a few steps back. You're not fully panicking yet, but this thing might be beyond you, unless something dramatic happens. Meanwhile, Kruger, you see your friend Heinrich in the fight of his life. Or is it a fight? It looked like he just charged at the thing. This thing barely even acknowledged him and just threw him away. Your friend's fine, but you feel this sense of dread as you look at this creature and you see what's going on. What do you do? Again, this is all very quick. You have a few seconds here to do something. What do you do?
Well, seeing that there are threats here, but there's one that's clearly bigger than the other, I'll raise my crossbow and I'll fire at this thing that's about to attack my friend, and I'll see if I can do something about this, if I can buy Heinrich some time.
Certainly, make your roll.
That is 5 degrees of success.
How much damage?
14 damage.
You aim and you fire your crossbow bolt. You try and aim for somewhere, maybe that leg, and you do, and you feel the leg. You see it it does break again and come off a little, as if it was made of stitches, but it doesn't fully bring down the thing, but it does bellow in rage and anger and just scream out something. It screams out, "No! No! No!" And then, Siegfrieda, you of course were making your way slowly, but even you have to admit your attention is distracted by this giant screaming thing, as is Lady Marguerite's. As you see it, Heinrich, for a moment your heart fills with terror as this thing charges forward, but then turns. It doesn't attack you. It grabs a table of some of these beakers, these chemicals, a whole table, and flings it with violent force up between you, Siegfrieda, and your foe. What do you do, Siegfrieda? You need to get out of the way.
Well, as always, there's two options. I dive back down the stairs, or I dive forwards towards Marguerite. There's no point reversing, and I can't stand still. So, I'm going to leap forward, and maybe, if this thing connects with me, or any of the objects do, Marguerite can act as a shield. Yes, it's inhumane, but I don't think we are dealing with humans at this point.
Certainly, although that would be quite a leap. You don't think you're going to be able to leap towards her. You might be able to leap in a direction, but you will not be able to cover the distance in one leap. Make your roll of your athletics test.
In that case, I use a point of resilience, and I'm going to opt to choose 11. This is my last point of resilience. But I am damn determined that I'm not going to be driven back into that pit where that monster is and my friends are struggling. That would come at no benefit at all. I need to stay up here, same level as Marguerite, and damn it, if she gets in the way, she could get a table and all the assorted beakers of chemicals in her face. So, I spend that point of resilience, and I dive with everything I have to her side of the balcony.
And you dive forwards as that table collides with several other tables, and it causes a great explosion of fire! Something is set on fire! You suddenly see above you, Siegfried, several things above you as the storm continues, lighting, not in a safe way, and you are now surrounded by fire and flame, but you are safe. You are safe, somehow. The beast below bellows. You look up, looking for your target. She's gone! She's gone! Where is she? You begin looking around violently, but suddenly there is smoke and fire everywhere, and yet somehow you are still miraculously unharmed. Heinrich, Kruger, what do? You have a moment of panic and terror as for a moment you think something has exploded somehow, and Siegfrieda could be dead, but no, she's there, she's fine. But there's now a big fire starting to spread and separate the two of you. Several things above you are beginning to spark and flare in a very threatening manner, and there's a beast below you bellowing in rage. What do you do?
Well, I feel as though Heinrich is the one that needs my help the most. Siegfrieda might be able to handle Lady Marguerite, but that thing down there, I don't think that even if there's both of us, we would have all that much of a chance against it, but we'll have a better chance at the very least. So, if the choice is between helping Siegfrieda or Heinrich, well, I'll just have to go down and help Heinrich, so I'll begin reloading my crossbow and get ready to fire again.
And just before you can fire, speed, as the beast blasts past you, it suddenly starts running up the stairs, a very awkward run, but it does, and it just goes straight past you. It's ignoring you, Kruger. How do you two respond to this? It seems to be running up the stairs, heading to the flames?
It's heading for Marguerite, isn't it? I'll just get out of its way.
And you do so, confused and stumbling back. Heinrich, the fear begins to leave you as the beast is leaving you alone. How do you respond? You look around you, you start to see fire beginning to rapidly spread pretty much everywhere. You look up, you see Siegfrieda. She's fine, but suddenly surrounded by debris, and Siegfrieda, well, you're looking around. Lady Marguerite's gone somewhere. Like, you think you see some movement in smoke and flame, but it occurs to you that you are now in a lot of danger. What do you do?
I can't go back the way I came.
You can't. You could maybe leap down, though.
Is the device that Marguerite activated, given that I just dove to where she was stood, present? Is it affixed to the wall?
Yes, there's a bunch of levers, strange gauges, and it's beginning to spark quite oddly, and there's flames starting to appear on it. This fire is spreading quite rapidly. It occurs to you, Siegfrieda, of course, how many weird chemicals are in this place. This place is very quickly becoming a major fire hazard.
Well, we'll have to do a health and safety assessment about that at another point. Right now, can I remember which lever Marguerite pulled? Or which ones? In that case, I will try and reverse that process. I know I may burn my hands, I may get injured in so doing, but my point, I cannot go backwards. I cannot start jumping down holes, running down stairs, hiding behind my companions as I have done for much of this journey, this so-called adventure that we've been on. it's been a trial, but more for them than for me. I've been able to hide behind their cloaks, their armour and their weapons while they've met the danger head on. Right now, I need to be the one pulling this lever, even if there's some dreadful repercussion for doing so.
You go, Siegfrieda, and you pull that lever, and you hear something spark up ahead, and above you is lit with flames. Once again, lightning strikes the building. It occurs to your logical mind that, you didn't turn anything off, you've just somehow redone the process. But it doesn't go so well this time. There is now flame everywhere above you. You can hear something beginning to collapse. Whatever this thing is, it seems it will soon be falling in on itself. You look around, you see, covered in flame now, this being, and it's just rampaging. It's just grabbing whatever it can and screaming as it is now completely engulfed in fire. And somewhere in the smoke, far away, but you can't see, you just hear, "What have you done, Siegfrieda? Why?" Heinrich and Kruger, you look up. Everything above you is starting to be engulfed in an inferno. You don't know how it's spreading so quickly. It must be something in these chemicals. There's a storm above you, but it just seems to be making it worse, not better. Again, Kruger, you see those stairs heading down, but then, of course, you look up, and there is Siegfrieda. She is in one of the few areas still not covered in flames, but she is surrounded by fire now. And whatever this machine is, it's starting to come apart. What do you two do?
Do I see any way of getting to Siegfrieda to help her to get down and get into safety?
No, unless she jumps. If she jumps, the two of you could catch her. That's not completely insane.
Siegfrieda, you have to jump. We'll try and catch you.
I consider my position. Is there anything more that can be achieved up here?
What do you think, Siegfrieda?
The device seems to have done its job. It's woken up whatever this thing is, by the looks of it. The tower is collapsing. Marguerite is probably unreachable. We know that there is a magical device somewhere in here, this fallen star. My logical brain, my scientist brain tells me that must be helping to power this, or it has somehow played a part in everything that's taken place here, but I don't know where it is. I can't head up any further, there's no staircase that is visible, there's no ladder.
No. And there's one thing you are aware of as well. Whatever this thing is, it's currently very much on fire. You don't know if you've heard of anything that powerful bar demons that survives being consumed by an inferno. There's a reason they burn witches, after all.
And I don't wish to put myself to the same test. If the only way out for me is to jump, then that is what I will do.
And jump you will. And I'm happy to say, as a result of your previous critical success, which counts as the same athletics test. And so, you jump. Heinrich and Kruger, what do you do as you see Siegfrieda jump towards the pair of you?
Just do my best to try and catch her somehow.
And catch her you do as she collides into both of you, but everyone seems fine. And Siegfrieda, you're back with your friends on the ground floor of this tower that is starting to very quickly catch on fire pretty much everywhere. You don't think the tower is going to collapse itself, but the machinery above is starting to creak and groan.
We had better get out of here.
There's nothing else for it. We either head out the way we came or we head down. Remember there was a staircase heading down deeper into the castle?
Yeah, it's just a question if there's going to be any way out of there.
We know there's a dock down there. They had to bring the Birabel and in somehow. And we haven't seen anything like that upstairs. If we down to the caves, there's got to be an exit.
Then that's where we should go.
The three of you dive down that stairway as fast as you can. Behind you, hearing still these yells, these now tormented yells of something just going, "No! No!" And then crashing and loud noises and fire. But you head down, and the fire is not following you down the stone stairs, that's for sure. As you find yourself colliding, Kruger, with a metal iron door. But there is a keyhole, And you have keys.
Just put in the key. That's a fortunate break. Hopefully it's the right one.
It is indeed. The door opens. You don't know how far down you've come, but you find yourself now in a slightly dark tunnel. Stone walls. There are some torches here. You begin moving forwards quickly. There's a couple of corners and places you can go, but then as you turn to the right, Kruger, you suddenly recognize another door. You've seen this door from the other side. It's got the same metal hinges, and then as you're looking at that door, you start hearing someone banging on the other side. You hear a voice. Hello? Hello, is anyone on the other side? Hello?
Yes, it's us. It's Kruger, Heinrich, and Siegfrieda.
Brilliant! Open the door!
I'll try and do just that.
You make your way forwards quickly, Kruger. As you do so, you pass by a door, and you think for a moment you hear the sound of something snoring very loudly behind that door. Maybe best not to bother whatever that is. Instead, you head to the main door, and there you see your problem. A big, heavy iron bar. You would never have been able to lockpick bar that. But from this side, easy to quickly lift. And on the other side, Sigrid and several of the others looking at you concerned. Wonderful. They made a final attack, but we managed to hold them off one more time, but I think we need to go. Is this the dungeon? Have you found the dungeon?
The dungeon? I don't know. I look around. Does this seem like a dungeon?
It has the look of a dungeon, yes. Whatever happens, suddenly a bunch of people are quickly heading in your direction. Sigrid, Rena, Hilda, and the rest of your small band of brothers are quickly heading into the area with you. Heinrich, you notice your friend Kruger go off and seem to open the way down here for all your friends who finally are joining you. You, of course, look around to the left, and you think you hear someone saying, like, hello! There are cells to the left of you. What do you do?
Well, I'd recognize that voice from anywhere. We're all in the mood to release prisoners, so I don't think it will come as any shock to the others if I go scrambling in that direction looking for Yosef.
You do. You quickly move, and you look into a cell. You see about 15 to 16 people. Some of them are quite bedraggled looking, quite tired. But some of them don't look so bad. Yosef is sporting a bit of a black eye, but he comes to the bars quickly, joined by Walder and Grim. Ah, there he is! I told you! I told them, Heinrich. I said, give it a day, and my boy will be breaking down these walls, and yes, maybe you could get that door open, get the lock open, quick!
Oh, yeah, the hero comes once again. Does the key... No, the key that Kruger had opens the door. Is there a jailer's ring anywhere around here? Any... I don't have a key on me.
No, but it does occur to you that there is just a rusty padlock, and you have a quite impressive sword.
Oh, well, in that case, not only will it open the door, but it'll do so with dramatic flair. Now, stand back, get back from the door. On the off chance any shards of this go around, and then I will raise it above my head to get the best swing down possible and see if I can chop this lock off.
You do not need to roll with your sword that you have these days, and to be fair, this is not a very good lock in the best of scenarios. You quickly cleave open that lock, and your friends begin moving out. And there's other people in here as well, including someone you haven't seen for a while. A woman you recognize. She's a hardy woman, long dark hair. Clearly someone of the boats. Big thick arms. Genevieve Schilf, your mother. She begins to tear up a little. I didn't believe... I did believe Yosef, of course, but that silly old man, he said you'd be here in a day. I can't believe you are.
I'm just stammering. I would never have expected to actually find her here. I know we talked about it and Yosef said, "Oh, be positive, mate," but in a slightly different accent. But I was always just humoring him. I assumed that the plague would have... And so I'm just staring for a good 2 or 3 seconds, letting it process before just running forward and assuming that she's tucked away in kind of in one of the corners, maybe hasn't scrambled all the way up yet, just scooping her up into my arms.
And she hugs you tight. Before you feel a hand on your shoulder, Walder. Come on now, hero. There'll be enough time for that later. We need to get... I hope you got an escape plan or something. And then you hear Joseph say, "Aye, lad! Quick, there's what... down the end there. We think there's some more people. We're not quite sure." And you hear your mum say, "Yes, your father, I think he's in the other cell, I think."
Can you walk? Are you good to travel? I just looking up and down, an uncommon amount of concern pouring out of Heinrich at this moment.
"Of course I am, lad. You think this will stop me? We've had worse storms than this. Come on, quick, get the other cell."
The Schilfer hardy folk. One hand kind of in between her shoulders, I can nudge her in the direction of the rest of the procession, and then proceed to saw or chop my way through any other locks that need opened. Yelling out then to Kruger, like, "Can you get this parade moving down?"
I'll begin doing just that.
You begin, on your end of things, Kruger, having a lot of people talking, a lot of people speaking. That man from before, the older guy, the one who came with you through the tunnels, he starts pointing to a staircase that seems to go down in this area and says, "Give us a moment, lads. That might be the port. Give us 4 people. We'll go down there quick. Make sure the way's safe, and then we can start loading everyone out of here. I say, if the boats are down there, we use the boats, and that's how we get out of here." And Sigrid comes forward and says, "Sounds like a plan. Good. How are you feeling, Sigfrida? Everything is happening very fast around you. Now, people are being broken out of cells and talking about escape and running back and forth. But how are things for you? Just moments ago, it occurs to you you were very near death."
The proximity to death doesn't disturb me as much as the possibility that we've missed our entire reason for being here. Yes, obviously it is fantastic. We are rescuing the river people. That's what we wanted to do. Ultimately, from a humane, a personal perspective, that's what we needed to do. But, well, we'll have to head on down here and hope that Sigmar or Clio or any other benevolent god decides to put in our path one of our other objectives. Because we can't head back upstairs to find this fallen star, nor can we go that way to find Herzen. And I really don't want her chasing us all the way around the Reik, but right now my mind is focused on these people we're breaking out of prison. Do any of them bear injuries? Do any of them need quick top-ups of something to dull the pain? Is there any quick stitching I can do? I know this is all happening quickly, but if anyone's got open wounds, that kind of thing. Just quick assessments of everyone passing by.
You begin doing so, and yes, there are some scratches. There is some serious cases of malnourishment, and people are grateful for your aid. It does seem as if there's a moment of calm as some of the more healthy people are checking the downstairs area first, insisting that they do this before you make your escape. Heinrich, what are you doing? There's that other cell. It's a bit much further down the hallway, much further down, but it seems that everyone has everything under hand. There are no foes attacking you, no one's in danger. It seems like it's just a case of getting ready to get out of here. So what do you do?
We came here for 2 reasons, one of which was, at least for Heinrich, to burn the witches out of this place, and it seems like that's happening above us without further intervention required on my part. The next thing a hero does is save as many lives as possible. If there are cells here, I'm going to open every single one of them, if anyone, and get everyone out.
Indeed, and you begin making your way quickly down, and then you pause. There's no sounds coming from this cell, but you think you can see some movement. You take a few more steps, and you see people are in the cell, but they're acting very strangely. They're not yelling out for help, they don't look happy to see you, they've all got their backs turned. What do you do?
Having run down, I've already been shouting, just asking, "Is anyone here?"
As you draw closer to the cell and shout, some figures begin to move. They come slowly to the bars. They begin to grasp out at you, moaning, rasping, their eyes vacant. You've seen this before, Heinrich. And one of them is wearing a little cap with a dove on it. You recognize that cap.
When you say I recognize the gate, what precisely are you referring to?
A certain individual told you how undead work. The cell is full of them, including that one with the cap, reaching out to you, eyes vacant, simply groaning.
Oh, God. I have the sword clenched so tightly in my hand, ready to chop the lock off and move with all the speed required of this moment, but seeing the hat, just my grip falters and the sword just clatters to the floor.
Your father tries to reach out to you, but he can't get through the bars. He simply tries to grasp for you. They all do. Several other figures. Men and women. All rag-covered. All gone. At least that's what you were taught by the woman on the boat. There's no cure for this, she said.
What did they do to you? It's so hard to be in this place because you tell yourself that you're the hero and you'll always do what's right and you can save everybody. And what is more heroic than being told, oh, there's no way to save them. And then, no, I'm different. I'm smarter. I'm stronger. But it's a good thing he's alone because I would never admit that I'm not those things in front of the others. And what a slingshot. When we came here, I assumed my parents were dead. That no one could be alive in this place that long, even before we knew the particulars of what was going on here. But no one survives that long in a quarantine zone. No one survives that long in a place where messages don't arrive or leave. And it is an agonizing fall from the euphoric heights of seeing my mother and all of that cynicism being pushed aside and just whatever. I was wrong. They're here. We found Yosef and it's going to be okay. And then this. Just too good to be true. It couldn't be perfect. I can't let them out, obviously. But I also can't leave him here, not like this.
You hear the others calling out to you. Again, time is of the essence, it seems. What do you do?
It feels like slow motion. I'm sure it's faster to everybody else, but I look down at the sword at my feet and, bending at the knees, bring it into my grip. It's a little funny that hefting this blade in front of my father, it was the thing that he told me I shouldn't do, that I was a lad meant for the rivers, and that this was all just a child's dream. And since those days, we hadn't spoke. I went off and learned how to wield this sword, and now it is only appropriate that I have to use it this way. So with him leaning forward, groping at me, I will begin to whisper the prayer that the priestess of Moor taught me. The small words that you say when you're about to send someone beyond the gates of our realm to whatever waits after. And for a second it looks a bit like the embrace that I was giving my mother, leaning forward, arms at the sides. But I can't leave him like this, and instead of the warmth of family, it is just the cold steel of a blessed blade that passes through whatever remains of his chest.
Your blade passes through the bars easily. It passes into your father easily. And he slumps a little, although not too much. You realize you need to do more than just stab him through the heart in his current state.
It's a ceremonial gesture more than anything else. Once the blade is through this sick black Icarus mass of undeath. It shouldn't be too hard to wrench it upwards from there. From heart cleaving upwards through the neck and the skull.
And you dispatch the living corpse that was once your father. Siegfrieda, you're not entirely sure what's happening. You look down the tunnel for a moment and you see Heinrich's doing something, but again, you're trying to attend to wounded people. There's a lot of excitement happening. Kruger, you don't see any of this. You're just getting ready to maybe head down that stairway. And then you catch sight of something. There's another corridor here that you haven't gone down. Why would you? But down the end of that, you think you see some movement. A dress. And then a strange green light coming from the bottom of this place. What do you do?
Who's that? I'll begin moving after just to see who or what it is.
And so you do, heading in the direction of this strange glow, as everyone else is seeming to get ready to leave this castle behind for good.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In the second part of the series, we are tackling Book 2, Death on the Reik. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegir Sonus, Epicryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We'd like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, and Graham Barey for their generous support. We would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real.